Okay, we're back. It's been a while, stuff's been crazy lately, but I thought I'd get back into it with just a simple thing like summoner school questions. This is summoner school questions that nobody asked me to answer, but I'm going to answer them anyway. We've got a couple here, I'll probably pick out some more, but then again I'm going to end up probably doing another 40-minute video, so let's get started. Okay, so I was actually very excited to answer this question. Very, very excited to answer this. So, how do I avoid getting tilted in counter / this is spelt wrong, annoying matchups? I like to play sort of off-meta champions. I'm just going to guess this is Riven. I've read this post. This sounds like a Riven main. But to do well, I need a lot of patience. My problem is I have mental blocks against certain champions like Aurelia and Trashyte because they're playing the lane insanely badly, but their champ allows them to play like that. He's already told me what the problem is. He doesn't know it, but I will tell him. How can I keep my cool when I'm playing in matchups that are just playing annoying face and not lose my cool? I end up winning the game against them because better macro / team fight. You don't have better macro, because honestly, if you had actually had better macro, I don't know what elo you are, but you probably just win fucking lane anyway. If I get tilted and feed the enemy too much, becomes tough. Any advice to not lose it during laning phase? Yes, I have so much advice. And I'm going to tell you why I have so much advice. I was a very fucking toxic player. I'm talking 36 permanently banned account. 36. I was very toxic. And when you're that toxic, one of the only benefits is you really start to learn people's mentality, because you want to piss them off because you're fucking toxic. So I learned how to really annoy people. And I'm going to tell you how to annoy these people. Not the guy who made this post, but the people he's playing against, right? The Trundamirs and the Aurelias that you're sick of. I'm going to tell you how to annoy them. You know why? That's good. Because if I tell you how to annoy them and you start pissing them off, it's going to make you feel so much fucking better, okay? Pretext, I'm not going to tell you to flame them. I'm going to tell you something you can do that will annoy them. So, first thing I want to mention is you don't appear. I don't know if it's clear to you why you're actually annoyed. I think understanding something, if you find something frustrating, I think first of all understanding why you find it frustrating already helps it become less frustrating. I don't know if you know why, but I'll tell you why. So, they can play the lane badly, but their champ allows them to play like that. I have better macro, but it's just the matchup, so I can't win. To me, that sounds like it was exactly like it was with me, where you have an ego problem when it comes to this, and you're thinking exactly what I would think. I'll use the example of Jax Malphite. This matchup is unplayable. I was a Jax one trick. It is really unplayable. Malphite can build whatever he wants. He can take whatever rune he wants. He can max whatever he wants. It doesn't fucking matter. The matchup essentially goes like, if I haven't killed him at level 2 or level 4 and got a decent lead, I just fucking auto lose till very late game. It's infuriating, and it's especially infuriating because he's a brain dead champion. So I always used to get annoyed at it until I got good at Jax. And let me tell you what made me start feeling better about it. So I said you have an ego problem, right? The other guy does as well. Now, part of the way to resolve that ego problem is to realize that the Malphite in this example, he knows that he's playing an easy matchup. He doesn't. I used to think, oh, fuck this guy, man. He probably thinks he's so good because he's beating me, but I'm a better player and he doesn't know that. He thinks he's just outplayed me, but he's not because he's playing Malphite. No, he knows, okay? Understand this. He knows damn well he's playing an easy matchup. And he's not going to feel particularly incredible by winning that matchup because he's fucking well supposed to. If anything, he's going to be a little bit nervous because he's thinking, shit, I actually have to win this matchup. This is such a goddamn easy matchup. I have to win it. So what I found that would piss people off like this is do not, at the end of the day, I don't know what champion you're playing, but you probably have a pretty good idea. It sounds like you just tilt engage them, right? But you probably have a pretty good idea of what you shouldn't be doing in this matchup. Nasus, playing against a Darius, pretty much knows that he should never really trade with a Darius, and in only certain circumstances. Now, there's two ways he could approach this. He could fall into the pit. Let's say Darius is slow pushing waves or freezing. He could fall into the fucking pit and rage, try and trade with him or try and outplay it because he thinks he's going to lose the game if he doesn't. No, you're not. Just be patient. And I fucking guarantee you, try this. Try it. Be patient. Don't trade with the guy. Don't do what he wants. You know what it is he wants. He wants to trade with you. He wants to kill you. Don't do it. Be patient, and it will piss the guy off. And not only will that make you feel infinitely better because you know he's pissed off, you know why? Because he'll start typing in chat. I guarantee it. They will start typing in chat. But it's also going to make them play badly. They'll do stupid things. They'll do aggressive dives that they otherwise wouldn't have done because they're so pissed off that you're not falling for any of their stupid baits that they're just going to get tilted themselves. That's what makes you feel better. That's why you won't be tilted anymore because you're going to realize, shit, actually, this guy's just as fucking annoyed as I am. It's a great feeling. In the Jax Malphite example, it's a little bit different maybe because you have to play that. You just have to try and win it, honestly, because it takes too long to outscale him. But something like a Nasus Darius, just take solace in the fact that you know you're going to outscale. There's essentially no matchup in the entire game where level 1 to 18, you just fucking lose. There is always something, even if you have to suffer for 10 minutes, there is always something you can be looking forward to and planning. And you've also got to realize that whoever it is you're playing against, he knows that's coming as well, okay? The Darius playing against Nasus, he knows that he has pressure on him. He knows damn well he has to stop you stacking because he knows what happens if he doesn't. So you need to look forward to that, and you also need to remember, your goal is to not fall into the trap. You need to get to that point. You need to wait. Whatever level it is, whatever champion you're playing where now you can win the matchup, you need to be patient and know that the other guy's getting pissed off. Every second you're being patient and not doing what he wants, he's getting fucking pissed off. So that's what I say to you. Please just try it. Turn your all chat on if you have it disabled. Try it. Don't type. Don't do anything. Just don't fall for the bullshit traps. They will start getting annoyed and they will start flaming in chat. Usually they say something like, you're so fucking scared, or you wait for jungler to gank, it will infuriate them. You're like, oh, you need to 2v1 me? They'll always fucking type, okay? That's what I'd say. Okay, so this one is going to be a little bit difficult to approach because I want to be genuine and honest here, as I always am, but I also don't want to come across as flippant. So know that I'm being honest here, though I may come across as like I'm joking or trying to annoy you. I'm not. But I will be honest with you, which is what you need. Now, I will pretext this by saying, why am I bothering to spend my time on a rant post? Because it is kind of a rant post. However, sometimes, rarely, I find that some rant posts, it's pretty obvious that the person, even though they are just venting, really, which is what this thread is, they actually do believe the majority of what it is they're typing. They might exaggerate it, but they actually do believe everything. Usually when people make rage threads, they don't really believe most of it. This person does, which is why I wanted to look at it. So, let's look. Hard stuck in silver, I do have a low win rate. Seems like game matched me with trashy, toxic players all the time. Okay. Number one, and again, I'm just not going to filter myself here. If you use the phrase hard stuck in silver, just stop complaining about anything else your team does, please. You are hard stuck in silver, man. Just have some fucking self-respect, for Christ's sake. Honestly, I'm playing it from 2012. They play 2-3 matches a day after work. Great. I'm going to highlight a few things here, and then I'll explain why I'm highlighting them. I always find this one guy that starts his chat run, and then troll, goes AFK, whatever. Then he lists, various games. In this one, the Graves, you're fed like shit, and then the person typed to the Graves, and then Graves start trolling. This one, Samira just went AFK. This one, same thing, he fed, blah, blah, blah. Let me point out a couple more things. In every game, I found someone doing bad on purpose. Purpose in caps, by the way. And then this person gives the reasons to why it's on purpose. You didn't close the bracket, which is pissing me off, actually. That really triggers me. But let's look at the question, and then I'm going to show you why I highlighted those things. If someone is literally trying to make you lose the game so bad, what can you do? This is rhetorical. I don't think you actually want an answer to this. I think it's just venting. However, I think it's also important your mentality here. You seem to think that, and this is rare, you seem to think that these people, when they're feeding and they're playing like shit, it's personal. It's on purpose. It is to you. They're directing all this feeding to you. Even if you haven't said anything in chat, it must be to you, right? The whole world revolves around you. It's an ego problem. Okay, you have an ego. Most people who make these rage threads have an ego, but you have a fucking ego. Okay, when this is the title of your thread, I do have a low win rate, as if you're trying to brush it away. That I have a low win rate, but I can explain it. Wait, no, the low win rate is you. You know what? How many games do you have? I did look at your OPGG. You don't have that many games, but you know what the only common factor in every single one of these games is you, for fuck's sake. So drop the ego, man, please. Because I can promise you one thing. You know what will make you stop making these rage threads is when you finally accept that you are just as bad as everyone at Elo. And of course, instantly, this person is going to start typing in my comments and saying, actually, if you look at the games, they had a really bad score and they were feeding. Well, let's explain it then. Let's explain why you seem to be finding this so common. And then when you understand it, then you'll stop getting annoyed with it. You'll stop getting as annoyed about it. So, I'm not religious, but I do like the phrase, I think it's seek and ye shall find. Another one is, if it smells like shit everywhere you go, you should probably check your shoe. In other words, confirmation bias, kind of. You're complaining that you find all these feeders and you find all these people making so many mistakes. Of course you do, because it's what you're looking for. If I go and, I think I have cancer or whatever, or something, right? And I start Googling, right? Cancer symptoms. I'm going to find, because I'm Googling cancer symptoms, I am going to find a bunch of symptoms that match whatever it is that I have. because that's what I'm looking for. It's the same thing here. You seemingly spend the entire goddamn game. I mean, the post makes it obvious, because the whole post is talking about other people, not yourself. I mean, I know it's a bit of a rhetorical question, but you're asking what you could be doing, but you don't talk about you, do you? You spend the whole post talking about them, because you spend the whole game looking at everyone else. So, yeah, of course you're going to find... Of course you're going to find all these mistakes, because you spend the whole fucking game looking for it. And you know what that means? By the way, how do you know this is on purpose? Like, you don't. Let's be real. You don't know it's on purpose. You don't. And if you actually have the time, if you even take 10 seconds in game to think about whether someone died on purpose or not only is that just such a bad fucking ego problem by itself, but then clearly you really are just paying no attention to yourself in the game, which is probably why you're silver, okay? This is probably why you're silver. You probably aren't that bad of a player, and you probably could get out of silver if you stop spending the whole goddamn game looking at your team and trying to think about what they're going to do and telling them what to do in chat and typing, oh, just play safe, forehead. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Just mute chat, please. Please, if you're going to listen to one thing, go into the interface settings and untick show all chat and show team chat. Untick it. Don't manually mute every game. Untick it so you can't see anything from the start of the game, because you're in Silver 4. There is pretty much nothing your team can tell you that's beneficial that they can't ping. I mean, this applies to basically every fucking elo, for Christ's sake. Play with chat turned off. I promise you, it is so much better. Because you won't see these little things. The difference between turning chat off and just muting people is if you just mute them, they can at least say like a sentence or two, which is it's just enough to piss you off, right? Just turn chat off, and then you don't even have to see any of them. It also stops you doing stuff like this. Like, I'm not going to blame you for Graves running it down because you asked him to play safe. I'm probably willing to bet you're kind of lying a little bit about this. You probably said a little bit more than play safe. I'm willing to bet. But even so, I'm not going to blame you for that. However, I will say, if you had chat turned off, this wouldn't have happened, would it? Or maybe not. It definitely wouldn't have made it worse. But when you type to people who are tilted, I mean, you think they're doing it on purpose, right? Or you think they're just omega tilted or whatever. Yeah, it's going to make it worse when you start fucking typing to them. It's the worst feeling in the world when you're doing terribly and someone in chat starts saying, oh, play safe, stop dying. Yeah, I know I should stop dying, motherfucker, but I'm playing badly, so shut the hell up. Like, it's going to annoy them. But just turn chat off, that's all I want to point out. Do I have to trash this account for real? Or other accounts, I rarely get this kind of people, honestly. Yeah, this is, again, just confirmation bias. You're just naturally going to remember all the times on this account that, you had an inter or an AFK or whatever, unless it's a small sample size. It's either it's a small sample size or it's confirmation bias. Like, you're just going to remember it way more because it's what you were looking for. You're like, oh yeah, see, this proves my theory. And you're going to remember that way fucking more, aren't you? I mean, you give it a lot of detail in these games, so clearly you remember them very fucking well. I don't remember a game I played last week, for Christ's sake. There's one more thing I want to say. So no, by the way, you don't have to trash the account. I do want to humble you a little bit, though. I think in the back of your mind, there is some part of you that knows damn well that you deserve to be in the Steeler. I'm sorry you do, man. You're almost 100 games, not almost 100 games, but almost 100 games in Silver 4 with a negative win rate. Do you know what the only common factor is? You. And you know how I'm pretty sure there's some part of you that knows it? It's the fact that you're willing to lie in your Reddit thread. If you truly believe that you are not the problem here, why would you feel the need to lie in your thread? It's almost like you are making it sound worse than it is because you need it to be more believable, that it really isn't your fault. But you are lying in your thread. You say, Graves is 05 minute 7. No, he wasn't. I know that because, guess what? OPGG has a fucking graph to show you this stuff. No, he wasn't 05 a minute 7. And you know that, but you lied about it. And there's a couple other things you lied about. So I hope that points out to you that you pretty much know you deserve to be in this elo. It's obvious. Please just drop the fucking ego. Number one, to summarize, turn chat off. Turn it off. And maybe just mute pings. If anyone starts pinging stupid bullshit question marks, mute their pings as well. Turn that off, number one. Number two, drop the fucking ego. Delete this post. Maybe don't delete the post, but just stop these stupid posts. Accept you are bad at the game. Tell yourself, I'm bad at the game. And stop spending the entire fucking game trying to find out what your team is doing wrong, and maybe look at what you're doing wrong. Because if you don't want to play with these people anymore, guess what? You know how you don't play with them anymore? You know how you avoid these people, these silvers? Getting out of silver. And that's not going to happen until you actually make an attempt to get out of silver. You're not. What you're doing is you're waiting for your teammates to stop being trash. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You have to carry yourself out the elo. You're not going to just... no player, very few players actually have this, these peaceful games where no one's trolling and going AFK. Everyone fucking has this. The difference is most people don't pay as much attention to it, so it doesn't annoy them as much. So, I said what I wanted to say. I have no fucking clue if this person will listen to me. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah. Okay, so this one quickly. I've literally only just in the last 10 seconds read this one, so this might be a bit weird, but how do you play with jungle as a scaling mid laner? I like to play scaling mages, I mean Seraphine mid, but I struggle to understand how appropriately to play around a jungle. Basically, he plays Victor, Seraphine, Anivia, and he feels like he can't facilitate his jungler. I'm assuming he means he can't facilitate his jungler compared to, I don't know, fucking Zed or something, right? Something with a bit more damage early. Now, I'm very interested in this one, actually, because there is a whole part of the game that you just have no idea exists, and that is wave control and zone control. These champions, I know this is the case for so many reasons, but it's the fact that you didn't use the word that makes me know that this is the case. These champions are called control mages. Victor and Anivia, I don't know, I wouldn't really consider Seraphine, no, she's not a control mage. Victor, Anivia, Azir, they're called control mages. As the name hints, they are very good at controlling things, okay? They have pretty good control over the wave, which is important because it directly relates to what you're talking about in your post. But they're also usually have very good zone control. Victor with his W, even just the threat of his ult, he can control chokes really well. Azir, self-explanatory. I mean, you just dump your fucking soldiers. Anivia, the wall, the stun, the ult. These champions are very, very good at controlling parts of the map. Usually, usually around the jungle. Now, that is very important because it sounds like you're basically saying, I can't set for ganks. How am I supposed to? I'm not Zed. I don't have a ton of damage. Yeah, you don't have a ton of damage because you're, as you said, a scaling mid laner. You know what you do have? Control, because you're playing control mages. You know what you do have? Probably, depends on the matchup, you probably have control over the wave. You're playing a control mage. That means you can do stuff like, yeah, you know what, I probably do believe that often when these junglers want to dive, it probably isn't safe to dive. You know why? Because you haven't set them up for the dive. You don't just arbitrarily dive unless the guy's really low. Usually what you do is you stack waves, right? You slow push the wave. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. You should know what it is because you're in gold 3. It's not that bad. It's pretty good, actually. You stack waves. A jungler, it wants to dive a lane. The first thing that happens is the laner, in advance, will stack waves so that the dive is much easier, right? You have way more minions, and then if the dive works, that guy loses a shit ton of CS. Of course, the disadvantage is that it's very obvious. If you start stacking 3 waves, it's pretty fucking obvious what you're going to do with it. But you're playing a control mage. Stack the fucking waves. Yeah, it probably is hard to dive because you're probably just mindlessly pushing the fucking stack the goddamn waves. Also, what it does when you stack the waves is it probably means you're going to be a level higher than the guy because you're stacking the wave. He hasn't killed minions, so he hasn't got the XP yet. So he's lower level. A great time to do this is super early in the game. You can triple stack a wave and do an early dive. You see some pro play literally all the fucking time. It's like the hallmark of if there's a Silas in the enemy team, you just stack 3 waves and then dive him because what the fuck is he going to do? He's Silas. And he has no XP because he hasn't killed minions. So stack the waves. When it comes to jungle invading, same thing really. I mean, if you have control over the wave, I don't understand how if you have control over the wave, you're struggling in the jungle as Victor or Anivia. You're in your fucking element. If you're in the jungle as Anivia, you're in your goddamn element. It's so hard to fight her in the jungle because she's just going to completely separate the fight. If she crashes the wave into the tower because she has pretty good push, she separates the fight with a W, and if you try and enter the fight, she's going to dump her ult on you, and you're going to lose half your health. So I don't know why you find that hard. Seraphine's different. Seraphine is a completely different champion than these two. Really. She's very, very different. She's not a scaling mid laner, really. She's scaling in the same sense Taric is scaling, and that she becomes so goddamn annoying and with the buffs and shit. She becomes a problem. And Nivea and Victor are the fucking opposite. They scale in the sense they just fucking one-shot you, particularly Victor and Anivia, and they make it impossible to fight late game in objectives unless they have a shit ton of engaged. So these champions are completely different, and there's something off that you seem to think they're similar. As if I can give you an answer for Seraphine the same I can with Victor. I can't. They're so different. All I'd say to you is the advice is go and learn how to control waves and how to stack waves and how that can enable your jungler. And conversely, learn about what it can do for you as well. When you start stacking waves, it does put you at a little bit of risk in a sense if the enemy jungler is smart. Probably not on gold. If the enemy jungler is smart, he will know what you're doing, and he will take action accordingly. Maybe he invades the other side of the jungle. Maybe he counter ganks. Maybe he tries to kill you before you stack the wave, although it's a little bit risky. Learn what it does to the enemy team and how it can enable your jungle, but also learn what it can do to you as well. And then maybe you can start to identify when people do it against you, for example. But in general, wave management, when you're talking about facilitating junglers, wave management is a massive, massive portion of it. A gank isn't just, the jungler just decides I'm going to gank this lane for no fucking reason. If I'm going to gank a lane as a jungler, I look at, okay, where's the wave? I look at a lot of things, but one thing I definitely look at mid lane is where the fuck is the wave? And where is it going to be in the next minute? So that's what I'd say to you. Okay, this post is wholesome, so I'm not going to be as derogatory. Is that the right word? Derogatory? No, it's not really. I'm not going to be as mean as I usually am. However, you know what I've learned, by the way? I've learned that people fucking love it when you're genuine with them and you don't try and be like political and shit, so that's what I'm going to be with this guy. Easy post, short, and wholesome. What should I do to improve? I like playing support, but I'm incredibly bad against people in norms. I've just been spamming Aram. I would like to start playing normal, but last game I went 110 on Seraphine. Is it worth to keep going Aram, or what would be good if I started Lux Seraphine soon? I don't have much technical knowledge as well. Okay, this is irrelevant. Do you mean technical? Actually, I don't know. Do you mean technical knowledge as in, like, literally you don't know how to use a computer well? If that's what you mean, then that's fucking irrelevant. You don't need any technical knowledge for League. That's all. I think what you probably mean is macro, micro. That would take too long to explain, but probably what you mean is macro. You don't really know much about the inner workings of the game, which is fine. Thanks, much appreciated. Okay, so this is gonna be fucking short. I stalked your Reddit profile because I wanted to find out how old you were, and that would gauge my response. You're 27, okay? That's not that old, really. I mean, it's like 5 years older than me. But it's old enough that you should know how the learning process works for everything in life. When you started driving, it was fucking terrible, wasn't it? You were garbage. You were probably stalling your car every 5 seconds, weren't you? Yes, of course you were. Have you ever learned a new language? I have. You are fucking terrible at it. You're really bad, and it's depressing how bad you are at it. The same thing applies to League, my friend. You went 1-10 on Seraphine? So what? Fucking who cares? Who fucking cares? So what? Did you have fun? Do you want to learn? Well, you do want to learn. It sounds like you want to learn. Who cares? Why does it matter that you went 1-10 in Seraphine in a normal game? It's fucking irrelevant. Who cares? Did you learn something? Yes? Then keep doing it. Yeah, you're going to feed like shit, but who cares? Because you're going to learn from it. That's how you learn. If you're feeding, fantastic. That means you have stuff to learn from. Every death, you can learn something from it, right? No, if you don't want to play arams anymore, there's a wasp in my room, by the way. It's terrifying me. If you don't want to play arams anymore, don't play fucking arams anymore. If you want to play normals, play normals. Play what the hell you want. Turn your chat off. I will say that. I mean, that's it. There's really not much to say, bro. Do what you want. It doesn't matter if you feed. As long as you're learning, it's fine. Just like everything else in life. Stall the car 50,000 times. Doesn't matter as long as you learn. It's a process. So, yeah. Okay, this one is bittersweet. Because I absolutely fucking hate people saying, can you do an OPGG review? Because it's so fucking... 9 times out of 10, it's useless. Unless it's this. It's fucking useless 9 times out of 10. This time, it's not useless, because this guy's doing something very specific. I wouldn't even bother reading this, but lane is hard into the last games. I know it's just a friend. Okay, good, wholesome, fantastic. Good mentality, keep that mentality. But let's look at your OPGG. So this is going to be really fast, because I don't care about your CS. That tells me nothing. You buy fuck all wards, but there is an argument to be made that there's no point buying wards in low helo because you're not going to use them properly. I can kind of understand that. I personally don't agree with it, but I understand it. I also don't really care about your runes because I don't play enough Master Yi to know what the hell rune people go on him now. People take a million runes. However, there's one thing I want to point out, one thing only, and it's, oh my god, if there is, you are the poster child for losing to shopkeeper, my friend. Jesus. It's fucking insane. I literally just spent like 30 seconds looking at this OPGG. How the fuck do you not buy a QSS in this game? Oh my god, look at their comp, man. If there's an Ashen enemy team, that's enough for me to buy a QSS on you. Buy a QSS, Jesus fucking Christ. How are you supposed to play the game against this without a QSS? There's a Vayne stun, there's a Veigar. How the hell are you supposed to get through a Veigar stun, for Christ's sake? An Asho, a Vayne E, a Nocturne Fear. It's just fucking insane. Even Sion's slow. Actually, I guess not slow because you're ult. QSS, man, fucking hell. I'd maybe even go GA here. They have like quite a lot of fucking burst, and you're like the only backline threat, GA is probably pretty fucking good here as well. I don't know why you go. I don't know why the hell you go Death Stance here. I don't. Frost for IE cannot be a thing, man. Usually I don't think builds matter that much, but when it's this bad, you really are. Shooting yourself in the foot is an understatement. You shot yourself in both feet and one of your elbows as well. That's what you've done with this build. Fucking hell, man. I don't know if you're not. I went and looked at the all the popular websites for builds. None of them list this build, so it makes me think you've copied it. Either you've copied it from a streamer without actually considering the context of why he bought those items, he or she. Or they, whatever. Or you're just building it arbitrarily, which I think is the case. You have a very weird obsession with Blade of the Ruined King, by the way, on a lot of champions that I would just not buy Blade of the Ruined King on. You buy it like every game on you. What the fuck is this? What else? Aside from the tank items, you appear to be... is this a thing? This is a genuine question. I don't know if this is a thing. I find it very hard to believe, but maybe it is. Who knows? You appear to be allergic, I will say in a general sense, you appear to be allergic to situational items. Or items that, should very much be bought in some situations. Stuff like GA, QSS, you don't necessarily buy these items every game. In the majority of situations, you won't buy them. But if you're playing an AD champion, if you're playing against a lot of CC, you probably need a QSS, because it's quite hard to play a fucking game. If you're the only backline threat, it's pretty hard to play a game without it. Same thing with Guardian Angel. If you're the only backline threat and they have a shit ton of damage, like a Veigar and a Vayne, you need a GA, because if you just die early into the fight, you're just screwed. But if you have GA, you can buy a little bit more time for your team. Maybe you can get more done. Stuff like that. Armor Pen as well. Last Whisper, if you're playing AD carry, Last Whisper it's pretty much core. It doesn't really matter if they have armor or not. But you'd never buy it on like any champion. You'd never ever buy any Armor Pen at all. Bork is an Armor Pen, by the way. Maybe you think it is, it isn't. I think it's about as much as they say. Basically, I don't even care about your scores or your CS, because your builds are so horrendous. Executioners, that's another situational one, but it looks like you... Would I buy Executioners here? I don't think it's worth buying Executioners on Nuja, to be honest. You can buy Bramble Vest, it will give pretty much the same thing. You have to be hit for it to activate, but... Executioners on stuff like Udia, personally I just don't fucking like it. But it depends on the champions you're buying it for, and it depends what you're playing. If you're playing like an actual like hard damage dealer, yeah, maybe you do need an Executioners. But if you're playing something weird that's like Ugia, like you're kind of a tank but kind of not, just buy a Bramble West and Full Mail, whatever, same fucking thing. Is that all I would say? Yes. I could probably critique some more things, but please fix your builds. They are just atrocious, man. Because it actually seems like you get pretty good scores, so I'm sure you could get higher rank than this if you weren't inting your gold to the shopkeeper. So, yeah. Okay, every single time I say to myself, okay, that's the last one, I read another question, and I'm like, fuck, I really want to answer that. So, this is the last one, I swear. What do I do when Rengar/Shaco invades my jungle? This Wasp is still in my room, by the way. It's getting rather close. Every time I play against Shaco or Rengar, he invades me after I'm going to my third camp. I can never kill him, whether I'm playing Warwick, Yi. You can't kill him on Warwick, really? Really, bro? Warwick... I don't even know if Shaco beats Warwick, even if he does have Ignite. Fucking hell, like, Warwick is really hard to 1v1 a Warwick early game. There's a reason people fucking play him top lane and they have zero brain and they just win every fight. It's because he's really hard to kill 1v1 early. I don't know how that happens, honestly. Definitely, you shouldn't be dying to Rengar. I'm just having a game with Shaco and I left immediately. Come on, man. AFK, really, because it's fucking Shaco. Okay, so the way I'd phrase this, right? It's as if you drank half a bottle of vodka, crashed your car, and then you made a Reddit thread saying, how can I not crash my car when I'm drunk driving? Well, start off by not drunk driving, and then we'll have maybe then if after you stop drinking and driving, if you still crash your car, then we can have another conversation. But for now, don't fucking drink drive, and you won't crash your car, probably. It's the same thing here. You're asking the question when it's already too late. You've already put yourself in a situation where, for whatever reason, Rengar and Shaco are able to kill you in the jungle. Well, too fucking late at that point, really, isn't it? There's a few things to this. Number one, I'm just going to pretend Rengar should be able to 1v1 Warwick. He shouldn't. I don't know why he can, but apparently he is. I'm just going to ignore that for the sake of argument. I'm going to guess what your pathing is every game, because it seems like this is a very consistent thing, which probably means you're very predictable. And almost certainly you are not. You're probably gold or below. So I'm going to guess your pathing. How does this sound? you start bot lane. You take bot lane, maybe Raptors. You never ever take Krugs, never. And you go top and you get invaded top. Every fucking game. Every game, I guarantee. Even on Lee Sin, you'll start blue buff if it's bot lane. Because this is what most bad junglers do. So of course you're going to get invaded. I don't know why people even want to invade a Warwick, by the way, but what the fuck. Of course you're going to get invaded, because you're so predictable. So what you can do is switch your pathing up. Pathing isn't static, man. You don't have to do the same path every game. In fact, it's like the most important thing of jungles is being able to adapt your pathing. You know, I mean, for example, you don't have to, if you're red buff, if you're on blue side, you don't have to take blue and then Gromp. You can just take Gromp, gank top lane, and then take blue afterwards. There's no problem. Like, you can just go Gromp, lane, gank top. Like, it works if they're stacking waves. It's not static. You can shift it up. So what you can do is something like this. Start of the game, ping your bot lane bushes, the tri-bush and the bush, you know, say you're on blue side, you ping the tri-bush and you ping the one near red, so that your team goes and scouts it. And get a warning totem, walk top lane to top lane pixel brush. And maybe about like 50 seconds in the game, go and place the ward kind of near where Raptors is, or maybe over the wall where red buff is. And then recall and get sweepers, or maybe you can probably get sweepers. Now you can switch your pathing up. Now instead of just doing red buff and going to top lane or whatever, red buff Raptors top lane, now maybe you do red buff Krugs Raptors, right? And wait, and just see, is he taking his Raptors? If he's taking his Raptors and he's already level 3, he's probably not going to invade me, because he's not going to do a full clear and then invade me. It makes no sense. Has he just triple buffed or triple camped level 3, and now he's running straight to my jungle? Okay, well now I can invade him, because I know his Gromp is up, right? Or maybe you can get your lanes to help you. Or maybe you can go just invade him, because if he's done that, then he probably hasn't taken Wolves. He definitely hasn't taken Gromp. So you can just invade him, or you can gank bot or do something else. You can switch your pathing up, right? Don't just... It sounds like you just allow them to invade you because you make no effort to stop it happening in the first place. Bear in mind, right, invading is much more rare than it used to be, because there's much more risk than there used to be invading. So it's not as if it's just this easy thing that, oh, they just get to invade me 24/7 for free because they're playing Rengar or Shaco. No, it's not for free, because if it goes wrong, if he stands on a ward when he's invading, it can go catastrophically wrong and he can lose the game from it. Which is what you need to understand. You've just conceded everything else and you've just accepted, yeah, I'm going to be invaded, and not even tried to stop it. Because you're more interested in how you should kill them than how you should stop it happening in the first place. The best way to stop something happening, or to stop a bad thing, is to stop it happening in the first place. Yeah, that's what I say to you. The only other thing I also want to point out as well is how the hell are you losing these? How are you losing 1v1 so much as fucking Warwick, bro? This should not happen. Not even Zinzao. I actually can't think of a fucking jungler that actually 1v1s Warwick. I can't. You know what? I'm going to go ask... I have a Masters jungle friend. I'm going to go ask him right now, actually. But yeah. Okay, the answer is maybe Olaf and a few other champions if they play around as E, but it's whatever. That's all the questions I'll do for today. Maybe I'll be back soon with more. I don't really know. I've got a lot of stuff going on at the minute, so... yeah, if I answered your question, I do still do coaching, but only on the weekends now. So drop me a DM if you want that.